All right, listeners, get ready because today we are diving headfirst into some serious drama brewing over at CNN.
Yeah, big time.
We're talking potential anchor shakeups, major content strategy changes. It's like watching the entire news industry try to surf a tidal wave.
And you're not wrong to see it that way.
Yeah.
This goes way beyond just one network. It's a glimpse into how all these traditional media giants are trying to keep up with the way we actually consume news these days.
We've got this crazy article straight from CNN, by the way, and it lays out some wild changes happening behind the scenes.
Well, yeah, this one is juicy.
Seriously, like, picture those big-time anchors, the ones who practically have their names on the coffee mugs on set. Well, they might be sweating it out because those million-dollar salaries, yeah, those might be on the chopping block.
Yeah, and that's what I find so interesting about this whole thing. It shows you the tightrope CNN is walking.
How so?
They need those big names to keep people watching, right? But those huge salaries, they're just not sustainable when fewer and fewer people are tuning in.
Especially with CNN's new CEO, Mark Thompson, walking in to find their viewership at something like a third of what Fox News is pulling in.
Oh, I bet that was a fun day at the office.
You can practically hear the gears turning in his head, can't you?
Oh, absolutely. And you know what's interesting about Thompson? This isn't exactly his first time at the rodeo.
What do you mean?
The guy has a reputation for shaking things up. Look at what he did at the BBC. Drastic changes, big moves. He's not afraid to make waves, that's for sure.
So when this article throws out the possibility of Chris Wallace, their big get from Fox News.
Huge get.
Right. When it says he might be on shaky ground, well, that's like dropping a bomb in the middle of the newsroom.
Totally. And did you catch the part about him being spotted in Thompson's office?
Oh, yeah. Never a good sign.
It's like the industry version of getting called to the principal's office.
Exactly. And it's not just the big names either. The article talks about national correspondents, those reporters on the ground everywhere.
The ones actually out there getting the stories, right?
Exactly. Apparently, CNN has a ton of them. And we're talking like potentially high six-figure salaries for each one.
Wow. That ended up fast.
No kidding.
Right.
So you start to understand the kind of financial pressure this network might be under.
Right. It's easy to think, oh, they're just trying to save money.
Yeah.
But this article hints at something much bigger going on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this new CEO, Thompson, it sounds like he wants to change the entire vibe over at CNN. Like, fundamentally change what it even means to be CNN. It's like they're not just balancing the budget here. They're trying to figure out how to make CNN matter in a world where everybody's got a news feed in their pocket.
So spill the tea. What is this new vision all about? Because this article makes it sound like some pretty major stuff is on the table.
Right. So get this. One of the big things they're hinting at is like the end of the traditional anchor person.
What? You mean like no more serious voices at the big desk?
It's almost like that classic image of the anchor, that authority figure. It's starting to feel a little outdated. And I think the quote from the CNN staffer in the article really says it all.
Which one?
The one where they said Thompson is looking for edgy people, not the traditional anchor man. Like, that's a huge statement, right?
No kidding. Edgy, though. Like, who even knows what that means in this context? It makes you wonder who they have in mind.
Right. And that's just the thing. Like, what does edgy even look like for CNN? It's not like they're going to go full-on gonzo journalism.
Well, whatever it is, it sounds like they're moving away from the whole established serious news vibe. Maybe even trying to reach a younger audience, the ones who basically grew up online.
Totally. And it's not just about the faces on screen either. The article also suggests that Thompson wants to move away from something CNN is pretty much known for.
You mean? Politics.
Whoa, seriously. But, like, isn't that their whole thing?
Exactly. The article actually used this phrase, over-indexed on politics. Basically, a fancy way of saying they focus on it too much. And to survive, they need to branch out, cover other stuff.
Okay, so less inside Washington and more, like, inside the lives of actual people. That's a pretty bold move. Yeah, it's kind of wild considering how closely CNN is tied to political coverage. But honestly, I think it comes down to a few things.
Like what?
Well, like we were saying earlier, CNN's got some fierce competition these days, right? Fox News, MSNBC, they're all fighting for viewers. But it goes beyond that, too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's like the whole media landscape is changing faster than ever.
Exactly. It's not like the old days where you waited for the 6 p.m. news.
Yeah.
People are getting their news from a million different places now. Social media, websites, podcasts, you name it. And they're used to getting it instantly, too.
So CNN's got to adapt, change with the times, or risk getting left behind.
And that's where things get really interesting. Remember that part in the article about reporters needing to become, like, experts in TikTok.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be filming vertical videos now. Talk
Oh,
about a far cry from just reading the news at a desk.
it's crazy. It shows you just how much the job of a journalist is changing. Like, it's not enough to be a great writer or a charismatic on-camera personality anymore.
Yeah, you got to be a total Swiss Army knife these days.
Exactly. To make it in this new media world, you need to create content for every platform imaginable.
So you're writing an article for the website, filming a behind-the-scenes thing for Instagram, and then hopping into the comments section to chat with viewers.
It's wild, right? And for CNN, a lot of their audience is probably on those platforms, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube.
Yeah.
So they have to learn this whole new way of talking about the news, way different than the nightly news, you know?
It's almost like we're watching the whole idea of news get completely reinvented right in front of us.
Yeah, and it's happening so fast. I mean, think about it. We've got these potential shakeups at CNN, journalists having to learn how to be like one-person media production companies,
Right.
and then this constant pressure to keep up with whatever social media throws at us next. It
Yeah.
really makes you wonder what the future holds for, like staying informed.
So if our listeners are out there listening to all this, what's the big takeaway here? What does it mean for how we actually get our news?
You know, it strikes me as how this whole CNN thing is kind of like a microcosm of what every traditional media outlet is going through right now.
You think so?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They're all facing the same challenges, right? They have to
Mhm.
adapt, find new ways to grab people's attention, and they've got to figure out how to actually deliver information in a world that's like completely obsessed with digital.
It's not as simple as just flipping through channels anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, we could talk for hours about this stuff, but when you boil it down, I think the biggest question this whole thing raises is like, what's the future of journalism?
Wow. Yeah.
Seriously, if even a giant like CNN has to completely rethink how it does things, what does that mean for the rest of us? What does it take to stay informed these days? And how do we make sure that good, solid reporting can still exist in this crazy new world? Those are the questions we're all going to have to keep asking ourselves, especially as the media landscape keeps changing all around us.
Well, folks, there you have it. A glimpse into the wild world of CNN and what might be a turning point for the entire news industry. Until next time, stay informed, stay curious, and remember there's always more to uncover right here on The Deep Dive.